Well, hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a good time so far at the prequels. I know we're having a great time. The Michael Lloyd session was great. The Ronan session was great. And now we're going to go into the Barry Vorzon, hit songwriter from MasterWriter, doing How I Built a Multi-Decade Career in Music. But I want to let you know that the day I recorded this, because it's pre-recorded, we were having some audio glitches on the right side coming through the software that we use to do it. So just know that we're aware of the glitches. They're annoying. They're not a catastrophe. And with that, I hope you guys enjoy Barry Vorzon and how he built a multi-decade career in music. Here it comes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Barry Vorzon.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Barry. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good, thank you. Good to see you. In this age of isolation that we're in. This is exciting. Haven't interviewed you probably in a couple of years at least. So I want to let people know that, first of all, Barry is the creator of MasterWriter, the powerful suite of tools used by hit songwriters like Rob Thomas, Trent Reznor, David Foster, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, Kenny Loggins, Jimmy Webb, Lamont Dozier, Kid Rock, and many, many more. But what people really generally don't know about Barry is this guy was a hit songwriter whose career started in the 1960s. He's been a performing, get ready for this list, he's been a performing artist, a record label owner, a publisher, a producer, an arranger, film and TV composer, and a Grammy winner with a multi-decade string of charted hits with artists like Marty Robbins, the Cascades, Johnny Burnette, and even the Eagles, which is very impressive to me because you know how I love them. And yep, you co-wrote the Eagles hit In the City with none other than Joe Walsh, and I am going to hit you up for a story about that later. Barry's also the composer of Nadia's theme, which is played daily on The Young and the Restless for decades. He also wrote the iconic theme for SWAT, and I'm sure that those two things alone have probably paid you very well over the years. Barry's a close friend of mine. I get a little gushy, but I think he's a national treasure. His stories and sage advice have inspired and helped musicians all over the world to write better songs and build better careers. So I've asked him here today to tell some of those stories, and recently he showed me a video that MasterWriter just made that does a fantastic job of explaining how it works. And frankly, it's always freaked me out a little bit that people think that MasterWriter is some kind of robot or something that writes songs. Like you type in a title and a song comes out the other end, which is not the case. So people always say to me, Barry will always say to me, did you know that MasterWriter can do this, Michael? I do a great Barry imitation, by the way, that cracks everybody up at the office. Michael, it's Barry. Anyway, Barry, he is as enthusiastic, if not more, than I am about my company. He is about his. And every time we're together, he goes, well, you know, MasterWriter does this and MasterWriter does that. So I chuckle, but I appreciate it and understand it because it is a great product and he deserves to be excited about it. And I've been endorsing MasterWriter for years based on an early version that he gave me probably 6 months to 9 months after it first came out. And also, the positive feedback. You know, the other day I was doing a Taxi TV, and one of our rising stars in the Taxi community of songwriters and composers, a gentleman from Nashville named John Pearson, and I mentioned MasterWriter and asked people if they were familiar with it, if they really understood what it did, and John Pearson said, I never sit down to write without it. So that's the kind of endorsements I've been getting all these years. You know, I'm proud to have you affiliated with us, and I'm always grateful that you guys have sponsored the Road Rally for many, many years. And through your generosity, our members get those free tickets to come to the event. Anyway, there's so many people out there that don't understand it, and it wasn't until I saw that video that I finally went, oh, it does a lot more stuff than that early version that you gave me years ago. But I want to talk about your time in the industry first. So tell me about your first hit. That's maybe one of your better stories. So tell us how that came about.
Well, thank you for all the lovely things you said about me. Yes, I've done all those things, and that's why my hair is so gray. These things don't come easy. Listen, for every time you win, there's 90% of the time you're not going to. And that's just the name of the game. But I've been very fortunate. Obviously, I guess the best story for any songwriter is how he got his first hit, because that was the first time he really knew he could do it, And mine was, might be fun to go over. I was a starving young songwriter, beating the pavements in LA with not much luck. Had a few things recorded, nothing happened with them. It was a real uphill fight. And I was in a publisher's office one day, and he said, kid, you should try your hand at country music. And so I said, well, yeah, okay. Well, now, the truth is, I didn't like country music. I was in the Navy, and the cooks were always playing country music. I hated country music, but I was desperate. I might add, I love country music today. It's Americana. It's once you get into it, you're going to love it.
It's the best songwriters in the business work in country.
Yeah, but at that time, I wasn't familiar with it. I didn't like it, but I was desperate. So I turned on the country station, and I started listening. And in those days, country music was very country. Webb, Charlie Pride, they were real country songs, and I just didn't get it. And then I heard an artist called Marty Robbins. And Marty Robbins was this contemporary country singer. And I related to him. I said, wait a minute, I can write a song for this guy. And so I said, let's see, I need a hook. And I was going through a magazine, and I see this advertisement with a car driving away with the tin cans tied to the back bumper. And on the back window, it said, just married. And I said, there's my hook. Well, first lyric in the song is, just married this morning, how happy they are. Just married written on the window of their car. And that's how the song opened up. I worked really hard. I'm a perfectionist, so I didn't stop until I thought I had something that had Marty Robbins' name written all over it. So now I'm excited. I wrote a song for Marty Robbins. Now, how do I get this to Marty Robbins? Well, I was so young and so naive. I had no idea how to. So I knew that he recorded for Columbia Records. So I looked up Columbia Records, and I sent my demo of Just Married, which I sang, to the president of Columbia Records, Mr. Mitch Miller, in New York. Now, the idea that the president, Mitch Miller of Columbia Records in New York, would even listen to that is like taking a lottery ticket. I should have sent it to Marty Robbins' producer in Nashville.
Right.
I was young and naive, and I didn't know.
How old were you?
24.
Okay.
But I had just come out of the Navy, so I just didn't know my way around the music business. So I sent it to the president of Columbia Records in New York. And, of course, I didn't hear anything. And about 3 months went by, and I came home to my aunt's house. Are you ready? I was so poor, I was living with my aunt. And she says, Barry, Mr. Mitch Miller's been trying to reach you. I said, Mitch Miller? She said, yes, he left this number and said to call him as soon as you get home. Well, hell, it was 5:30 California time. It was 8:30 in New York. Man, I dialed that number, and Mitch Miller answered the phone because, he was the only one in Columbia Records at that time of night. He was still in his office. So I said, Mr. Miller, this is Barry Vorzon. He said, yes, you sent me a song called Just Married. I said, yes, sir, I did. Well, he said, what is the status of this song? I just recorded it with one of our major artists. I said, the status? Well, the status is it's yours, Mr. Miller. Who did you record it with? He said, Marty Robbins.
Wow.
There is a moment you will never forget because it was 1,000-to-1 shot. You know, I sent him the record, the demo. I didn't know him, so I didn't write anything. I just sent him the demo like an idiot, thinking he'd know who this song was for, you know? And that's the ingredient that we don't always talk about, called luck.
Yeah, you said it was 1,000-to-1. I think it was more like 1,000,000-to-1. I mean, what are the odds? Was Mitch Miller a big TV star yet, or had he not started doing the Mitch Miller show?
Oh, yeah, he had the Mitch Miller show. He did all of that, and he was the president of Columbia Records. You know?
Wow.
He was an amazing guy. So anyway, it came out with Marty Robbins. I was just vibrating, and it went to #1. And it stayed at #1 for 6 months, trading off. It was either 1 or 2 for 6 months, trading off with a song called "Oh Lonesome Me." I don't know if you remember that one. But
Nope.
It was just an amazing success. So now you know what I was doing. I was writing the follow-up to Just Married, Marty Robbins. And I got there and I wrote my second country song, and it was called Treasure of Your Love. And I sent it off to my new best friend, Mitch Miller. And I heard back in about 2 weeks from Mitch. He says, Barry, I got that song, Treasure of Your Love. I recorded it. I said, with Marty? He said, no, with Eileen Rogers. Well, I said, oh, gee, that's great, Mr. Miller. I was crushed. Who is Eileen Rogers? I mean, I wrote this for Marty. I don't even know who Eileen Rogers is. But I couldn't say anything, so I said, well, thank you, Mr. Miller. Hung up the phone. Eileen Rogers had one hit in her entire career, and it was with my song, Treasure of Your Love.
Yay.
So by the time I got to New York, Mitch Miller took me around Columbia Records with his arm around me, telling everyone, see this kid? I've had 2 major hits with him, and this is the first time we've ever met.
And the thing is, and you didn't know how to write country because, you know, country is just like such a craft. I mean, country writers get off the bus in Nashville and spend 5 to 10 years just learning the craft, even if they were great songwriters when they got there. How the hell did you get the whole country sound and the format, you know, and the detail, the visual details that they put in and the whole country framework? How did you nail that?
Well, I told you I listened to the country station, and I listened to it and try to drink in and understand the concept. You know, now Just Married is not a super country song. You know, but it's kind of a contemporary country song.
Yeah. So did they sign you to a publishing deal at that point?
No, I had my own publishing company, and Columbia was a record company. They, you know,
Right.
they had a publishing arm, but no.
So you held on to 100% of the publisher share and 100% of the writer share on both of those hits?
Yeah.
You know, not only is Barry, I got to interject this, he may get a little mad at me, but not only is he a musical genius, but here's how smart Barry Vorzon is every time he made money, he saved it up, didn't blow his money, and then eventually he invested his money in real estate in Santa Barbara and San Diego. So yay for you, man. That just, wow, good musical chops and good business chops.
Just a funny addendum to this story. I was having dinner with John Farah and his wife. You know, he's a great writer.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with him? He's
I've heard his name. I don't know.
A writer and a producer of Olivia Newton-John. And Olivia was there that evening as well. And after dinner, we were talking about songs, and I told them this story. And guess what? When I finished, all three of them started singing Just Married.
Wow.
They knew every word. It was a giant hit in Australia.
Wow. Oh, man. I remember the first time I heard a record that I worked on the radio. I literally was wiping tears from my eyes. You must have needed to go to the bathroom when that happened.
I couldn't believe it. They knew every word.
Wow.
I was just so impressed.
Well, so you should be. So that was a great story. I love that one. All your stories are great. And I do want you to tell us another one or two. I especially want to hear the Eagles and Joe Walsh thing. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to play the video in a second. But the Joe Walsh thing, that was back in like 79 probably, I'm guessing. 78, 79?
I think so.
Yeah.
Bad with dates. Or it might have been later than that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, in any case, it's just, sit in a room and write with Joe Walsh had to be a thrill. Anyway, I want to play the video because I'm going to forget. I'm going to get sucked into all the stories. I'm going to forget. I honestly commend you, the gentleman who did the editing on it. This video is the most succinct explanation of how and why MasterWriter can help writers. MasterWriter is not a robot. It's not some magical thing. Oh, I keep hearing this glitch. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, technical difficulties aside, MasterWriter is not a robot. You don't just put in a title and a song comes out the other end. Some people actually think that. It's an incredible suite of tools, and some of them are featured in the video. So let me see. I'm playing technical director on my own stuff today, doing live TV here with you. Let's see if this works.
Do you sometimes struggle to find the right word or suffer from writer's block? The truth is, all songwriters do at one time or another. MasterWriter is a powerful suite of writing tools and reference libraries designed to help address this problem. When you're looking for the right word, rhyme, or phrase, MasterWriter will give you all the possibilities in an instant. First and foremost, it has to be one of the most comprehensive rhyming dictionaries available. Powerful filters let you sort by syllable or search on perfect, close, and wide rhymes and phrases. A search on the word night will reveal pages of perfect rhymes. If you don't find what you're looking for there, you can try close or wide rhymes. Double-clicking on any entry will add the word or phrase to your collected list. Rhyme phrases will give you phrases that rhyme with the search word. When multiple pages of results exist in any dictionary, the left and right arrows on your keyboard perform as paging buttons, making searches more efficient. When you search on the word me, here the special E group will give you an amazing number of E rhymes to choose from. You can make your searches more manageable by using the syllable filter. Searching on last word will give you every phrase that ends in the search word, a great tool when you know the word you want to use in the rhyme but need help getting there. Phrases is a unique dictionary containing over 33,000 phrases, sayings, and word combinations. Think of it as a hook or idea factory. Another feature is you can hide your lyric page, which will give you a greater area to view the results of your searches. Search on love and it will give you an incredible amount of choices. A search on the word the will give you an even more impressive amount. Check out all the hooks and titles that are on these first 4 pages. If you spend 5 minutes a day collecting hooks and ideas, you can build your own personal collection and refer to it when you're looking to jumpstart the creative process. One of the most unique features in MasterWriter is word families, a one-of-a-kind reference dictionary that will open a new world of possibilities for descriptive words that you will not find in a thesaurus. If you're looking to describe a hot sun and you want to replace the word hot, word families will give you a number of obvious choices like blazing, burning, scorching, and torrid. However, if you want to be more imaginative, click on Extended and it will give you a glaring sun, a punishing sun, a merciless or unforgiving sun. Now we're talking. The word beautiful has very few synonyms, but by selecting Extended, it will give you choices like breathtaking, flawless, unforgettable, and dazzling. These adjectives are not synonyms for beautiful, but there can be no mistake you are describing someone who is beautiful. Naturally, having a thesaurus and dictionary at your fingertips is a requirement for all writers, so those are present. With MasterWriter, All of the dictionaries search simultaneously, instantly giving songwriters a variety of choices. Speech types gives you all the different figures of speech, alliterations, allusions, idioms, metaphors, similes, and more. Using filters allows you to be specific and efficient in your searches. For example, we can look at positive metaphors, negative metaphors, or between the two, neutral metaphors. Under similes, you can search for positive people, negative people, or negative situations. Intensifiers is a one-of-a-kind collection of moderate and intense descriptive words. If you're tired of using the same old adjectives, this is a great place to start. Like word families, this collection of words does not exist anywhere else, and the filters allow you to be specific in your searches. Selecting adjectives, positive, people, and personal characteristics gives you a lot of choices. The ability to collect multiple entries from every dictionary is one of the most important features in MasterWriter. What makes it even more useful is the ability to view what you've collected next to your lyrics, giving you a number of possibilities to choose from when you're looking for that right word or rhyme. The world is a collection of icons from pop and world culture which allow the songwriter to be more specific in their reference to descriptions of people, places, and things. Elton John and Bernie Taupin's use of the Yellow Brick Road made the song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road unique and memorable. Naming the river, highway, bar, or moment in history makes what you write more interesting and believable. There's also a searchable Bible, Old and New Testament. You can either select a book or perform a search. In this example, all verses containing Jesus and love are displayed. Along the bottom of the split screen, you'll find a few other useful features. Info is where writers and publishers are listed, plus additional information related to the song. Melody is elusive, and the onboard audio recorder allows you to quickly and easily capture your melodies with very little distraction, so you can stay focused writing the song. It's simple on purpose. Versions allows the writer to have different versions of the song without disturbing or changing your master or primary lyrics. The ability to name your versions allows you to organize them, and you can also view any two versions side by side. You can also create a version dedicated to general ideas and sketches that pertain to the song. Share allows you to share the song in progress with your co-writers. And last but not least is how MasterWriter organizes the songwriter. The list page houses your finished songs as well as your unfinished songs. You can leave a song in progress and come back the next day or 6 months later, and your lyrics, melodies, and work product will be waiting for you just as you left them under the song title. MasterWriter is a cloud-based software that automatically saves and backs up your work in the cloud, available anytime from any device. This is not an app you install, it's a subscription service that removes the worry of future compatibility and/or data loss. With MasterWriter, all upgrades and improvements are free and instantaneous. Start writing on your desktop or laptop and then edit on a phone or a band member's computer. Your work product will automatically be saved under the project title and will always be there exactly as you left it. Head on over to MasterWriter to try it out risk-free for 90 days. While a computer program cannot compete with the mind and imagination of a songwriter, the mind cannot compete with the word choices and rhymes that MasterWriter will give you in an instant. When the two work together, great things happen.
Okay, we're live again. What are you doing over there, Barry? Did you lose something? What the hell's going on?
I had to change chairs.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, that's the beauty of live TV. I also want to apologize to the viewers. There's something in my audio chain that every now and then is sending out this high little glitch on the right side. And I'm sitting here the whole time the video's playing, trying to figure out where it's coming from. I have no idea. But the information we're getting is so good. I'm just going to let this roll because, like I said, some of the stuff that comes out of your mouth is pure gold. So what made you invent MasterWriter? I mean, were you personally struggling, like sitting there beating your head against a wall on a particular song, and you went, man, I wish there was this thing? What was the impetus?
Well, no, it was just the experience of being a songwriter,
Yeah.
having to face what songwriters have to face. You know, we don't have that connection 24/7 with
Right. You mean the connection to the muse?
Yeah, yeah. She talks to us when she wants to, and when you have that connection, it's so important to maintain it. And sometimes you get stuck on a rhyme or a word because it's not just finding a rhyme. You have to find something that will rhyme, that will allow you to express what you're trying to express. So it's difficult. And sometimes you can get stuck. And when you get stuck, you lose the connection.
I think people get stuck a lot. And like I said, when I watched this video, I just went, man, I'm not a songwriter. I write a lot of marketing stuff. And as you know, when you first gave me the copy many years ago of the original MasterWriter, I used it for writing. You know, sometimes I would need a word or I would need a phrase. And I know that now you guys have a version for people who write books and what have you. But it's that moment that you get stuck can kill a song, you know. So the ability to reach into this incredible toolbox and find that thing will not only unstick you or make you unstuck, I guess would be the proper English, but I would think that it would get you enthused, like, wow, I got this awesome phrase. And
well, that's why I created MasterWriter, because the problem is you get stuck when you use this very limited Rolodex of the mind. Okay? Let's take an E rhyme, the easiest vowel to rhyme. When I ask people, give me some E rhymes, they go, me, free, knee, you know, cliches. Plus, it moves you from the creative side of the brain to the analytical side. So you're using a very limited Rolodex. And that's where you can get stuck. So with MasterWriter, I created a rhyming dictionary where you can instantly look at perfect rhymes, close rhymes, wide rhymes. You can search by syllable. You can search on phrases that rhyme. And it's all there instantly at your fingertips. Now, why that's important is the greatest of creation or creativity is distraction.
Yeah.
So you need a rhyme for night, just plug in the word night and you have all the possibilities in front of you.
Something I thought of while the tape was rolling the first time I watched it a few days ago is that a lot of people who are producing tracks at home now, which virtually everybody does with their home studios, and they've got, you know, literally like hundreds of thousands of choices and synthesizer sounds and drum sounds and all this stuff. And we're always telling our members at Taxi, build a template so you don't get stuck fishing for sounds while you're in that creative moment, whether you're trying to write a song or build a track. But your MasterWriter worked so easily. Somewhere in the video, the voiceover guy says, you know, we made it to be simple. And boy, you accomplished that goal because when I was messing around with it, I didn't ever get stuck where I went down a rabbit hole, you know, and that's really important because you don't want to screw up that flow. All right. Well, should I have you tell another? What?
That's just another powerful feature is how it's presented. Okay, it's presented, and the ability, and of course you saw the video, is just by double clicking on a possibility. You collect it to that song. And so you can go through any dictionary, the rhyming or whatever, and collect anything you think you might be able to use. You know, or if you're looking for night rhymes or free rhymes, you don't have to stop at the first one that makes sense. You can collect as many as you wish, and then you can look at what you've collected next to your lyrics. There's no program that allows you to do that. And so you can look at your lyrics and look at the possibilities, and boy, that really is helpful in keeping you focused on what you should be focused on, which is writing the song. not trying to remember rhymes for me.
I've always wanted to ask you, are you a natural? Were you born to be a hit songwriter? Because people sometimes think that you either got it or you don't. Were you born incredibly talented? Obviously, there was some talent in there. Or did you have to work at your craft?
It's like anything else. I mean, I think you have to have the God-given talent of songwriting.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone can write a song, but because you have that gift doesn't mean you're going to be a good songwriter, let alone a great songwriter.
Let's talk about good and great. You and I've had this talk at dinners numerous times. I know from running Taxi all these years, we hear a lot of stuff that's really good. It's like B plus, A minus, sometimes even A, but it's not A plus. And if you're a big star on a major label, you're not looking for A minus or A, you're looking for A plus. What's the difference between good and great?
You just have to be willing to do the work. Good is everywhere. Don't fall for it. Don't settle for good, because you need great to be up to bat. So if you settle for good, the chances are good is not going to be good enough. So you have to always go for great. You also have to have the objectivity to know a song that can never be great and figure that's an exercise in songwriting. And then one that is either great or has the potential to be great. And when you come across that, you just have to put in the work. And a lot of songwriters are so pleased with the act of creation that they just don't want to put in the hard work. And my advice to every songwriter, put in the hard work. Be a perfectionist. No one's going to get it perfect, but try. Listen to what other people who you greatly admire are doing. Always, when you listen to music, be analyzing it, analyzing the melodies, the lyrics, the images. And then when you have a song, try to emulate that. Try to be as creative and unique as you can be, because you need to be exceptional. This world, this business only rewards the exceptional. And even when you create the exceptional, there are no guarantees, but at least you're in the game. When you settle for good, the odds are not on your side.
How do you know? Because you sound like somebody who is a constant editor, a constant rewriter that will go back and just keep looking for perfection. I personally think Don Henley may be the pinnacle of that guy doesn't even waste a syllable. It's amazing how impactful his lyrics are with so few words. So do you consider yourself better at writing lyrics or melody?
I would have to give it to melody, but I've really worked on my lyric writing.
Yeah.
And, so I've gotten pretty good at that too, but melody's probably, the path I feel most comfortable with.
When a song comes to you, or you sit down with the intent of forcing a song to come to you, if you will, making the muse show up, do you generally start with a melody? Are you in the car and you hear a little melody? Does the melody come to you when you sit down? How does it happen?
Different. It happens differently every time. I think the most important thing is once again, how much time do you spend trying to write songs? And when you decide to write a song, turn off the phone. Distractions. You got no distractions, and you have to sit there, and whether it's the melody comes first, or a lyrical idea, or a concept, whatever it is that triggers that session, you go with it. But there can be no distractions, and especially if you have that connection we talked about earlier. Any distraction, you can lose it like that. You can get on a telephone call, and when you're off the telephone, the connection is gone. So I think it's just putting yourself in that very little distraction mode, which is, once again, where MasterWriter comes in to help you focus on writing the song and giving you whatever you need, while you're writing it, to keep you focused. Even, melodies can be so elusive. With MasterWriter, when that melody comes up for the bridge, you just go to the audio page, hit the record button, sing or play it into the computer, and then go back to writing the song.
By the way, I want to compliment you on that. Sorry, I kind of cut you off there, but I want to compliment you on that, because the fact that you've put all this stuff in one place. If you could see my desk right now, because I've been working on all this road rally stuff, I've got separate piles of paper all over. I've got chairs sitting next to me with piles of paper. I'm working like a songwriter. You're in the car, you have an idea, you write it on a napkin. You're out at a restaurant, you write it on another napkin. You stick it in your sport coat pocket. Maybe it's a matchbook cover, whatever. All these little elements that are laying around, but they're not organized. And the cool thing about MasterWriter is the fact that you can record a melody in there, and that you can not only just put your lyrics in there, but you can have several versions of your lyric. You can keep draft A and draft B and draft C and compare them side by side. To me, I've got to believe more people will complete songs because they've got all the elements sitting there in front of them, rather than going, crap, what did I do with that lyric that I started the other night when I was in bed, and dozing off? I wrote it on a little Post-it note. Where's that Post-it note? Then you walk out of the room, the writing room, and you walk past the refrigerator, and you decide, I'm hungry. So you toast a bagel, you put a little cream cheese on it, and by the time you finish making the bagel and putting the cream cheese on and eating it and having a conversation and returning a couple of text messages, you've lost it. The Post-it note was what made you leave the room, and MasterWriter brilliantly and simply stops that process from happening. It keeps you in the room because it's all right there in front of you.
Well, you're touching on something. With all these features and tools, one of the most important features is how MasterWriter organizes the songwriter painlessly. Now, I'm a songwriter, and I'll bet you most songwriters are not that organized about their work. So what really makes it great is the rhymes, the lyrics, the versions, the melodies. You can quit the program, come back to that song the next day or 6 months later, and all of your work product, your rhymes, your lyrics, your melodies are waiting for you just as you left them under that song title. And you don't have to do that. It does it automatically for you.
So one of the questions somebody asked me, I remember several years ago, you guys made it a cloud-based piece of software versus something you would load onto your computer, which obviously makes it great. So if you're at a friend's house and you don't have your laptop with you, but you guys want to start writing a song, you can call up your MasterWriter, all your files, everything on your friend's computer just by logging in. So, and I don't know the answer to this. Barry didn't prompt me to ask this question. As a matter of fact, Barry didn't prompt me to ask any of these questions. If I put my stuff in there, and I've got 6 years of songwriting stuff in MasterWriter, and then I don't love it anymore for whatever reason, I don't have an active account. Is there a way to download all that stuff if I decide to not keep up on the subscription?
Sure. Well, but that's there for you, whether you stop your subscription or not.
Oh, okay. So all that stuff stays in the cloud permanently, and you can log back in?
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're not...
There, yeah.
Sorry, say again. I talked over you.
Whatever you have in there is yours.
Okay.
You can't use the program, but your songs, your lyrics, everything will remain.
That's great. All right. Well, I'm happy to know that because people have asked me about that. I remember a certain number of people were a little trepidatious when you guys left the software and went to the cloud-based thing, the subscription, But that makes perfect sense. I mean, just the fact that you can access it anywhere on a pad or a phone or a computer on a friend's thing, whenever the moment grabs you, made perfect sense to me. But I think people might have been a little frightened in the beginning that if they didn't keep up on their subscription, that all their work would be lost. So that's great to know.
Is always there. The only thing they can't do new songs, and they can't change the songs they've done in the past. But all the content, the work product, the lyrics, melodies will always be there for you, whether you have a license or not. But software, believe me, Michael, there won't be a software program that isn't web-based.
Right.
It's just the way it has to be today. And it really works because everyone gets all these improvements and upgrades at no cost.
Oh, really? You guys don't charge for the upgrades?
No. As long as you are licensing MasterWriter, you get those on the dinner. So, in the past, every time they came up with a new improvement, you had to pay for it.
Right.
That doesn't happen. So it's the way of the future. I think from Microsoft to Adobe, everyone's going with a web-based product.
Oh, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now what was your most embarrassing story? And again, Barry didn't prompt this, and I don't know that you've got one, but have you ever had like a really embarrassing moment as a writer in the studio?
I don't know. You caught me on that one.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know if one pops into your head later. We'll go back to it.
No, but before we go on, though, I want to make a point that I think your membership should realize, and I will take one more. I won't speak about MasterWriter again, but I want to make one more point. Songwriters, I give this example. Songwriters are like professional athletes, okay? A tiny percentage are able to do what they want to do in life, all right? So all the kids that love basketball and football, there's only a tiny percentage that are able to be professional. And the same thing goes for songwriters. It's a difficult profession where a very small percentage are able to, I'm not saying be famous, earn a living from doing what they love.
Right.
So you have to look at that. You have to be, as I said before, willing to do the work. Don't settle for good. But let me give you this example. If I had a program for athletes, professional athletes, and I went to the players in the NFL and the NBA, and I had a program that would make them 5% better, there wouldn't be one of them that wouldn't buy that program because they want that 5%. And they would pay me for whatever I asked for that 5%. Well, I honestly believe MasterWriter will make the songwriter a lot better than 5%. They'll make his songs better than 5%.
So,
at $3 to $5 a month, that's a bargain.
I think it's underpriced personally, but that's a business decision that you got to live with. I think you could charge more. It's so good.
Bottom line, in this business, you want every edge you can get.
Yep.
So that's all. I won't say it.
So going back to the comparison of athletes and songwriters, so MasterWriter is really like a shot of steroids in your ass for songwriters. That's the 5% enhancement the athletes go with.
Yeah, it's just an edge. It just brings a lot to the table, and at that price, why not have it?
So let's go back to songwriting for a minute. I'm sure that there have been plenty of times that you've written a song that you beat a dead horse. At what point do you call it a stinker, put it in its little shoebox or a casket, I guess would be a better word for it. See, I could have found that word through MasterWriter. You put the song in the casket and consider it DOA. How do you know If you should try harder or bury it?
Well, the toughest thing is to be objective about your own work. Obviously, it's your baby. You created it. But it's important that you are objective about your own work. And the way I've accomplished it is, when all is said and done, I listen to my emotions. And believe it or not, if you're honest about that, if you emotionally react to that song and it continues to move you emotionally, you have a shot that it will touch others emotionally. If it doesn't really get your motor going, then it's a good song, and maybe you leave it as a good song and an exercise in songwriting. But believe it or not, if you just listen to your own emotions, you'll know when you're onto something great. Once you get past that first rush because you've created something, then when you live with it for a while, does it hit you? If it hits you, you've got a shot. If it doesn't, push it aside and start a new one.
Yeah, you've worked out the muscles in any case. Muscle memory is a good thing, keeping your muscles toned up. So yeah, I guess no song is a waste of time. They don't all produce hits. If you had to guess at the percentage of songs that you've written totally and songs that you've pitched because they were good enough, what percentage are pitchable?
Gosh. To be honest, it's probably a very small percentage. People go to school. I mean, they take lessons to learn to play the piano and the guitar. They go to school to learn. Songwriter learns two ways: by writing and by listening and analyzing what others write. That's the college of songwriting. And so you learn that, and you improve your craft and your art. So every time you write a song, you went to school, and if each time you're trying to write a better song than the one you wrote before, you are improving. Your writing is getting better. And when there's a huge hit that you really like, listen to it. What moved you? What stuck with you? Mm-hmm. And then maybe try to incorporate something like that in your writing. But I would say 10% of the songs I've written were pitchable. And then, then 1 or 2%, things happen.
So
it's a tough business.
It is a tough business. And I'm glad you said that, because I want our viewers to know not to get frustrated and not feel, frustration and rejection. So how have you dealt with the rejection factor during your career? Because now we know that, you got really lucky on the first two. And after that, it was more work than luck, probably. How did you handle, sometimes when you knew you had a hit for a particular artist, you were sure if they heard it, they would cut it, and everybody in the world would love the song, and you would make a ton of money and be famous as a songwriter, and it didn't happen. How do you deal with that? How do you process your rejection?
Well, if you're going to be in the music business, whether it's as a songwriter or an artist, you better have a good raincoat, because it's going to rain most of the time. And by that, I mean rejection is a part of the business. And you can't let that get to the things that you have going for you, like your confidence and your belief in the fact that you can do it. Because if you let that rejection get to those things, it's not a good thing. You just have to say, well, it's just the way it is, and I'm going to write a song that's going to knock them out next time. You just have to have that positive attitude. And also realizing that you're not the only one in the boat, man. Every songwriter has to deal with exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
The most songwriters don't write hit after hit after hit. The ones that pull that off were when you were the artist and the songwriter, and you happen to be the Beatles.
Right.
And then, almost everything you write has a real good chance of succeeding. Or Backrack and David had a string of hits because they produced and Dionne Warwick recorded only their songs.
Yeah.
And so if you can ever get that combination of either being the artist or having access to an artist, of course, you can write a string of hits a lot easier than just being an independent songwriter.
Well, that leads me to probably the last question. We've only got about 8 minutes left. Joe Walsh, how did you end up writing with him? And I'm just so proud of you. I'm proud of your entire career. I'm a big fan of yours. But co-writing an Eagles song, that is every songwriter's dream, at least in that genre. How did you meet Joe? How did it come about? And how did the writing session go?
Well, Joe lived in Santa Barbara, and we were friends.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing this movie called The Warriors, and it's become a cult movie. It's amazing. And I was thinking, I'd love to work with Joe on a project, and this might be the one that makes sense. So I called him up and said, "Hey, Joe, I'm doing this movie called The Warriors. Would you like to write the end title with me?" He said, "Sure." So he came down to the house, and he had his guitar, and I'm on the keyboards, and we wrote In the City. So it was in the movie, and everyone loved it, and it was great. But that was it. Nothing much happened with the song once the movie came out. And then one day, Joe called me up. Now, the Eagles had just come off Hotel California, and they were in the studio doing their next album.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, he's real casual. He says, "Barry, yeah, Joe, the Eagles are thinking about doing In the City." I said, "Really?" "Yeah." I said, "All right, listen, Joe, do me a favor. Never mention this to me again. You can walk in with an Eagles album that has that song on it. Because if I let myself believe that I'm going to be on the follow-up album of the Eagles to Hotel California, and it doesn't happen, I'll kill myself." Right? And I know it does. They go into the studio, they do a bunch of songs. Not everyone makes the cut.
Yeah.
So I couldn't set myself up for that. So I said, never mention it again till you can walk in. Well, one day, my gates ring. "Hey, Barry, it's Joe." He walks in with a recording, says, "I got something I want to play you." And he played it. And it was just a thrill to have written a song that the Eagles recorded, to be in that tiny, tiny group.
Yeah.
That can say, the Eagles recorded my song, because there weren't many outside writers.
There still aren't. I mean, seriously, getting anything past Glenn Frey and Don Henley to land on one of their records, that's the toughest pitch in the music industry.
But, they're great writers, and
great.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you something. I've seen the Eagles in concert several times since then. And when you're there in that audience and the Eagles are on stage with thousands of people and they play your song, it's a feeling that is just wonderful.
Doesn't it make you want to stand up on a chair and yell, "I wrote that"?
Well, yeah, but it's just part of having a piece of that legendary group. So it is a thrill, and it continues to be a thrill.
I bet. Well, I couldn't be more proud of you for all of it, but that in particular, just because I'm a huge Eagles fan.
I'll tell you another.
It's got to be really short because we've only got about 4 minutes. Another
short one about being a songwriter where you don't get necessarily money out of it, but it's great. A friend of mine invited me to LA to celebrate his birthday, and afterwards he took us over to the stadium to see his alma mater, SC, play Notre Dame. So we're up there, I'm feeling no pain, and we're up there in the bleachers, and the game under the lights with SC and Notre Dame is exciting, and the first half goes by, and now 130 Trojans marching band comes marching out on the field playing theme from SWAT.
Wow.
My theme. So I'm up in the things, it's on television, and 130 guys with the helmets are playing theme from SWAT. And I sat there and said, damn, this is good. This is good, And that's another example of one of the benefits of being a songwriter, if you get lucky.
Well, I was going to get to Nadia's theme, which you guys, everybody who's ever seen an episode of The Young and the Restless, Nadia's theme actually started out not being the theme, but I want Barry to tell you the story. So I'll have you back like a month after the road rally. Now that we know that we can do this virtually, I'll have you back to do a regular Monday episode of Taxi TV with me so you can tell that story again. Because that one's, they're just all great. What you are so fortunate to have lived the life that you've lived and worked with the people that you've worked with. And again, I'm going to go back to my first page here. I want you guys to remember, Barry has been a performing artist in the 60s, a record label owner, a publisher, a producer, an arranger, a film and TV composer, and a Grammy winner. There's so few people that ever have a career in music, let alone have a career doing all those different things. And for everybody who's ever seen Warner Tamerlane on any of their records for the publishing company, well, that used to be Tamerlane Music Publishing, which Barry started and eventually sold it to Warner Brothers. So for all of you who've ever seen that, you've known Barry, in a way before you ever met him. So Barry, with that, I want to say thank you, man. This was incredible. I'm glad we got the technology to work other than that glitchiness that I keep hearing that I have no idea where it's coming from, but it's probably on the video, but it just doesn't matter because the quality of this hangout with you today was excellent. And I also want to say thank you for all your years of support. MasterWriter has written checks year after year after year to support the road rally so that our members could have free tickets. And I appreciate it. I know they appreciate it. And so thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.
Well, Michael, I'm very fortunate to have a friend like you. And I'm very fortunate to have been able to do what I love doing and make a living at it. So I am a lucky guy.
You certainly are. Whoops. That's funny. My phone's ringing at 4:15 telling me time's up. Anyway, thank you, Barry. And I'm going to roll a title card and some music at the end. So just sit tight. Don't make any noise because our microphones will get in there because technology. So thank you. Give my best to Jalinda and to Matt and the boys. And I will talk to you soon. And hopefully someday we'll be able to see each other in person, give each other a hug, and go out for a nice dinner. So,
I'd like. Thanks.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Barry Vorzon.